Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back again. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the Godzilla movies, anywhere between the Showa era all the way to the Monsterverse to just actually avoid watching. Number 1. Godzilla vs. Mothra, 1964. There's just not much of a fight really between Godzilla and Mothra overall. Sure, you do get to see Mothra, pulling and tugging and scratching Godzilla's head and flapping her wings in front of Godzilla's face, but all that Godzilla just has to do is use his atomic breath and just win the fight. That's it. And of course Mothra dies, giving birth to 2 twin Mothra larvae. But the worst part about this film is that they actually expect you to believe the fact that 2 larvae that are just now born suddenly just know how to defend themselves and actually win by whipping Godzilla and eventually making him fall into the water. And that's it. The end. You just consume the ending and just ask questions later. Number 2. Invasion of Astro Monster. If I were to sit there and ask you, what's your favorite part about this film? You would all sit there and tell me the same thing. Oh, my favorite part is when Godzilla does his victory dance. Because on top of that, there's barely much of screen time between Rodan, Godzilla, and King Ghidorah throughout this film. I just don't like the ending because, yes, Godzilla and Rodan end up tackling King Ghidorah off the cliff, but King Ghidorah retreats, but where the fuck did Godzilla and Rodan go? Where did they go? Like, we don't see them at all. The end, that's it. Number 3. Ibra, Horror of the Deep. This movie was actually pretty decent, but the actual problem is just Ibra himself. He's not even a threat to Godzilla. The only thing that he's just a threat to is just the humans. Ibra doesn't even have any special abilities. All he just does is the whole movie, and that's it. Number 4, Destroy all monsters. There's 11 kaijus in this film, and out of those 11 kaijus, only 8 of them are actually involved throughout the film. What is the point of adding Baragon, Varan, and Manda into this film if they don't really do shit? And while the rest of the crew actually get the chance to jump King Ghidorah, I just realized that half of those fight scenes are just restock footage from movies like Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster. Toho, you're not slick, you're not gonna fool me! Number 5. Godzilla's Revenge. It's not even a real Godzilla movie. It's just focused on a kid that gets bullied by other bullies and just daydreams about kaiju action in his head. This film is just an illusion. The kid is just crazy, just dreaming about Manila and Godzilla. And on top of that, yeah, most of the film is just restock footage from Son of Godzilla or Ibra, Horror of the Deep. Nobody even liked Gabra. Gabra's just annoying. Number 6, Godzilla vs. Hedorah. To me, all I'm just looking at from Hedorah is a giant, massive piece of shit just covered in gray. And I just feel like Godzilla has far better matches than that. Number 7, Godzilla vs. Gigan. This film is a 2v2 because you got Godzilla and Anguirus going up against Gigan and King Ghidorah, but the issue here is that the villains just suck. They don't even try and make it cool. They're just giant cockroaches. They're not even humans. Ugh, scary. And I don't mind if these villains want to mind control some kaijus, but at least make them useful, because King Ghidorah in this film was just completely lost. Number 8. Terror of Mechagodzilla. Mainly because Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla in 1974 was top tier. It doesn't need a sequel, but it did. They couldn't even afford to bring back King Caesar. Instead, they replaced King Caesar with a new kaiju named Titanosaurus, who was just annoying as hell because of his roars. And Mechagodzilla in this film is just useless. He stood there and allowed Godzilla to just go ham all over him. It's also kind of weird when you bring back some of the same characters from 1974's film into this one and just make them act like they don't know anything about Mechagodzilla. That does not help! Number 9. Godzilla vs. Biollante. A father ends up losing his daughter in this film. And his first thoughts are, oh, well geez, I would love to mix up my daughter's dead cells with Godzilla cells into a rose. And that's what Biollante is. And when it came to Godzilla trying to kill off Biollante, I actually thought she died, but I came to find out that she actually retreated just in time. And instead, you see a picture of somebody's dead daughter just floating up into the sky. How is that not creepy? Number 10. Godzilla vs. Mothra, 1992. Yeah, it's cool that Mothra has a brother named Bothra, but I personally feel like the fight scenes could have been a little bit more better in this film. Because it just makes no sense that Godzilla kills Bothra and then Mothra just drops Godzilla and Bothra together in the ocean and then just calls it a day. Number 11. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, 1993. I was happy to find out that Rodan evolved over time and suddenly became Fire Rodan, but when you see the new version of Mechagodzilla, it just doesn't really stand out to me. Don't get me wrong, this version of Mechagodzilla was still pretty brutal towards Godzilla and Fire Rodan, but they didn't try and make this one any cool. Number 12. Godzilla vs. Mechaguirus. The problem with this one mainly is the fact that it kind of starts off boring and it's kind of slow up to the points where you just kind of feel uninterested. Nobody wants to watch a Godzilla movie where you have to like kind of just skip to the fucking good parts of the film. I also just didn't like the ending of this film either. The movie just ends with Godzilla randomly just getting vanished by a black hole. The end. Like, what? Number 13. I actually messed up the order, but anyways, Godzilla 1998. It's just not Godzilla. It doesn't look like Godzilla. That's not Godzilla. You can all sit here right now and justify to me, well, the TV show's better than the actual movie. Yes, the TV show is better than the movie. That's the problem. It shouldn't have to take until a TV show to finally appreciate what this version of Godzilla is capable of. This version of Godzilla looks like it just came out of Jurassic Park, and you know it. Number 14. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Don't get me wrong. I do like that this version of Mechagodzilla, which is also known as Kiryu, has the fucking spirit of Godzilla 1954, but nothing really goes down in this movie. Like, yeah, there's fights here and there between Godzilla and Kiryu, but at the end of this film, nobody won or really lost. Godzilla just walked away. Which also leads me to number 15, Godzilla Tokyo SOS. The main character of this film also got played. It's great that the main character comes back in this one, but she got sidelined super hard like she's from the NFL. Mothra and her kids also show up in this film, and guess what? Mothra dies anyways to Godzilla. The kids get triggered and start webbing up Godzilla, but the ending isn't really too satisfying either, because I know that the spirit of Godzilla 1954 doesn't want to fight himself, so all he just does is take this version of Godzilla to the ocean with him. So it's like, who won what? Is it a draw? Number 16, Godzilla 2014. This is legit the first Godzilla film where you have to actually turn up your brightness, because until then, it's gonna be really hard to play it in the daytime, and if you try watching this movie at nighttime, you're gonna most likely fall asleep because it takes a hot minute to really see Godzilla actually being seen on screen. And I know that this isn't the only Godzilla film that ever, you know, kind of like sideline Godzilla in his own film, but at times in this film, they will legit cock block you, because as soon as you see Godzilla going up against these Mutos, oh, going on to the next scene. Why do you think Gareth Edwards never came back again? And number 17, the Godzilla Netflix anime trilogy series. Godzilla, Planet of the Monsters was probably the only decent one in the whole trilogy. The humans want to take revenge on Godzilla so bad that they end up losing at the end of this film. Godzilla, Sitting on the Edge of Battle was the most boring Godzilla movie I've ever watched. And the people that did make this film legitimately did come out and say, like, yeah, you know, this is one of those Godzilla films you gotta just sit through to get to the next one. Like, no, fuck no. How do you guys promote Mechagodzilla? He's not even in this movie. And when it comes to Godzilla the Planet Eater, it's cool that Toho decided to throw in King Ghidorah and Mothra, but literally both of those kaijus were just hella wasted for potential. And the fight scenes between Godzilla and King Ghidorah were just not that good. It was like King Ghidorah, but like his head's like split into straight lines just sucking on Godzilla's blood. And I'm like, okay. The ending of this film is also stupid because the main character that was there since Godzilla Planet of the Monsters decides to take revenge on Godzilla finally, and guess what? He fails and he dies. And that wraps up 19 different Godzilla films to avoid watching. I hope you guys understood where I was coming from. Please don't attack me in the comments! Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys the next time. Peace.